Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and it's finally time where we can start showcasing Warhammer 3 early access content. You guys have been waiting for a long time now and I've been waiting to just showcase as much as possible. Keep in mind that of course there are separate embargoes, so I can't throw out everything in one go as much as I'd like to do that, but also for the sake of my sanity. There is in fact a lot to showcase and there's going to be loads and loads of videos, and I normally don't do this, but if you're new to the channel consider subscribing because yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be releasing over the next coming weeks. So with all that being said, you can see there's a lot of different factions and we've been given a schedule by Creative Assembly of what we can showcase and so on, so let's just jump right in with the first faction. So first I can show to you the 9th Legendary Lord, someone that is completely new as this is a Demon Prince leading the Legions of Chaos faction. What makes this character so special is he has no name, as you can see there. You can actually switch around and name him whatever you want. If you want to name him Nathan, you can. If you want to name it after yourself, you can. And this is a Chaos Undivided faction, meaning that you have access to the faction rosters of all 4 mono gods. Which means that to date, this is by far the largest faction roster that you can have available to you with one playable faction. Now, obviously, quick disclaimer, everything here you're seeing is development in progress, so stuff can change by the time that release happens. And obviously, Warhammer 3 has a narrative. I can't show you everything, as right now I can only show up to 50 turns worth of content, and it will be done with YouTube chapters, so if you want to skip any spoilers, you can skip onto the next section. I'm trying to obviously make sure that anyone who doesn't want the story ruined for them doesn't have it ruined. So with all that being said, let's jump into a completely unique faction.
A new evil enters the world. A prince of Kislev, reborn a prince of darkness, a champion of the Chaos Gods.
Kislev will fall. It will kneel before me, before Chaos.
You think too small for one so powerful.
Have you forgotten, Seer? I killed Urson.
Why stop at Kislev when you can give Chaos the world?
No more twisted words.
Wait! Urson lives!
You lie.
Wounded and dying by your hand, but alive. The Shadow has him still.
Bellicor will pay for his betrayal.
The god bears power. It is yours for the taking. So take it.
The realm of Chaos cannot be entered. No one can cross the maelstrom.
I can. I will guide you back to the Forge of Souls. All I require is one drop of Urson's blood. Finish the job you started, mighty God Slayer.
God Slayer. World Slayer. Urson's power is mine.
Our goal is clear. The Demon Prince must harness Urson's power and claim the mantle of a god. I have brokered a pact and will guide him to his desire.
Advise me, as my brother once did. Take me to the Chaos Realms, or suffer his fate.
Prince of Demons, God Slayer, the ruinous powers watch, waiting for you to make your mark on this world. The deeper the scar, the easier it will be to wrest Urson's remnants from Bellicor. First, establish a capital. This will alleviate the attrition from which you currently suffer. Your new fortress is all but complete. Claim and dedicate it to one of the Chaos Gods. Yet do not linger, for trespassers approach. colonists from Nordland attempt to settle the untamable lands in a mistaken belief this will quell invasions from the north. Wipe out the gullible fools at their beachhead, the Bay of Blades. Then make the Scalings pay for failing to protect lands that are the dominion of Chaos Undivided. The other Norscan tribes should be conquered and subsumed into your burgeoning realm. And across the Sea of Claws lies even fatter prey. The Empire is within reach, but beyond that fractured nation, the so-called Motherland. Kislev, the nation which abandoned you, whose god you had no choice but to slay. The leader of Ursun's cult, Kostaltin, musters a force to enact revenge against you. Meet them head-on and harvest their miserable lives to power your own vengeance. As you gather your forces, the Tome of Fates ponders a way to return to the Chaos Realms. Your form remains malleable, so use this to your advantage and wield the Legion of Chaos. A prince will become a king, and then a god.
So we're starting off with our brand new campaign, and you can see two things at the beginning. We're suffering from attrition at the very beginning as we have no home base, but that's linked to how your campaign will start, and you have a decently varied roster of starting units. Just over a half stack, but you'll notice units linked to Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh. This is going to be your start of trying to get used to having 4 rosters in one playable army. As I've also been zooming in and out, you'll notice that we also start pretty much in the middle of Norsca, but it's not like the Norsca that we know of Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2, and you'll still be able to get some walls. Just letting you know that early, as I know that that was a big fear throughout the community. Now, there's a few things that we need to discuss, as this character and his faction play completely different to all the other demons. But first, let's have a closer look at him, as this is the only time you'll see him like this. He changes a lot. So here's the character right now, and as you can see, he is reminiscent of that of the Demon Prince box that is available at Games Workshop. It has been confirmed that this was the direct inspiration of the vanilla model. This was confirmed to me by Andy Hoare, the lead writer for Warhammer 3. Now, don't get too used to how he looks, as he's going to change around, and we'll cover that very soon in the video, but I wanted to give you a nice look at him, as this is the first time we're seeing a Demon Prince. So as soon as you go and capture a settlement, you're able to dedicate that settlement to a specific god. What that means is you'll get some glory points towards that god, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but also those buildings available in said settlements will be dedicated to that god, meaning if you want to recruit Tzeentchian units, dedicate the city to Tzeentch. If you want it to Khorne, dedicate it to Khorne, and so on and so forth. I'm dedicating this settlement to Tzeentch purely because the resource available is also buffing up to Tzeentchian stuff, and I'll have a video closer to release regarding all the different resources and who they buff up. Another benefit here is the quest will also focus around that of what you've picked. So here I've picked Tzeentch. A quest will pop up saying that I need to recruit 2 units, and after which I'll be granted an iridescent horror because I've dedicated the first settlement to Tzeentch. If I would have done that to, say, for example, Khorne, I would have gotten a Blood Reaper instead, which means that you can tailor your experience with the Demon Prince precisely as to how you want to play the faction. So as you can see here, I've turned the Doomkeep into that of a Tzeentchian settlement, and everything is now linked up to Tzeentch. You've got a few different buildings which will stay more or less the same, just changing some effects here and there, but the majority of it won't change. Now, there's something really important here which will be discussed as soon as we get more into the glory points aspect of this, but you're only able to recruit a unit or 2 from these settlements at the very beginning. You'll notice that all the other units are locked behind the building, yes, but they're also locked behind your glory points. This means that early on you won't be able to just spam build something up and get access to loads and loads of different units. It's in fact a little bit slow, but because you have access to 4 different rosters, you are the most varied and possibly one of the most powerful. I believe that Creative Assembly are also saying that this is one of the recommended factions to start off with. So let's look at special faction effects, where we have Godkiller. Godkiller gives you access to all demonic units via demonic glory. We'll go over that in just a second. And finally, Early Reign of Chaos, inflicting damage with friendly lords in battle will unlock random army abilities. What this is you might recall each of the Chaos Demon factions and other factions too have special in-battle effects, where some of them you'll have to cast spells with, some of them you'll have to deal damage with, and so on. Instead, here you'll have to do damage with your lord, and you'll be able to get a random effect as there's 4 different monogod ones that you'll have access to. It's done by a RNG status. In regards to skills, you can also see that this character has something completely different to what we've normally seen. This is divided into 5 separate sections, one for Undivided, one for Khorne, one for Nurgle, one for Slaanesh, and one for Tzeentch. The Undivided line, which is known as Glorious Warfare, will focus around the basic administration of your faction. This is mostly tied to your specific lord, where you'll be able to increase Chaos Corruption in Undivided form, get increased diplomatic relations with Chaos factions, extra growth and control, and not only that, but when you start going into the other section, you'll start finally getting Route Marcher. It's going to be a while until you can get that, Lightning Strike, and the ability to then focus on reducing the upkeep for each of the specific monogod rosters. If this seems a bit overwhelming, don't worry. As far as I'm aware, the highest rank that you can get a lord at the moment is rank 50. The Khornate line, Fury of the Faithful, as you can imagine, helps you with both battles, mostly raiding, sacking, but also boosting up the capabilities of all your Khornate units. Keep in mind that the first of the different lines also focuses on increasing glory to your specific alignment, so either Undivided or in specific monogod. They are not skills that you'll want to avoid, as you'll be able to boost up everything there. But with Khorne, of course, if you want to have a more melee upfront approach, you're going to want to boost up your Khornate warriors. This is not only just the basic troops, but bloodthirsters and the like. Also, keep in mind that there are skills that will focus directly on certain units that have been reused in other factions, so buffing up your Soul Grinders of Khorne will not buff up your Soul Grinders of Slaanesh, for example. But as you can see, we've already started looking through the Nurgle line. That will help you increase casualty replenishment through all your armies. Keep in mind that those bonuses are for everything, it doesn't matter if it's Nurgle or not. Reducing the damage you take from attrition, and of course buffing up your Nurgle stuff. I've been able to play for a decent amount of time, and I found that a healthy mix with your Demon Prince does work out quite well, especially if you want different types of damage coming into effect. With the Demon Prince being as close as you'll be able to get as a representation of the 8th edition Demons of Chaos army book. The Slaanesh line, Unholy Worship, will focus on recruitment cost reduction and increasing the chances of success with your heroes, which you'll be using a fair amount for this campaign, I imagine. As always, then it focuses up on increasing the capabilities of all the different types of Slaaneshi demons that you have available to you. You're going to have to think about this when you start building up your forces, as, yeah, you are limited when it comes to points. Thinking ahead is obviously very useful if you want to go purely Undivided, but there's nothing stopping you from playing in a monogod aspect. Again, it's completely up to you as the player. And finally, the Tzeentchian line, which will help you with reinforcements and obviously the channeling of magic. So if you want a few more spells being thrown across the battlefield, and trust me, who doesn't, especially since you can make this Demon Prince a spellcaster, more on that a little bit later, you kind of want to focus on this too. And obviously you'll be able to boost up the capabilities of all your Tzeentchian units, and they are quite useful. They are the most range style ones, so if you want a little bit of a mix, the way I've been doing it is more or less a 25-25-25-25 mix through all the different demon factions. Also, keep in mind that these buffs themselves are for your Demon Prince, barring that of the glory bonuses, so don't expect many faction-wide things throughout your character. So now let's talk about glory. This is a new vital resource which is available to you as the Demon Prince and the Demon Prince alone. You have 5 different types of glory: Undivided, Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch. And as you can see here, you can gain it through captives, through passive gain, and through settlements captured, but this is mostly for Undivided. When you look towards the monogod specific ones, you've also got buildings, commandments, events, and a bit more to get you more glory for a monogod playthrough. Glory itself is an important resource as much as your funds are to build up armies, and there's a few reasons why. But before that, we're going to have to go a few turns into the future, as we're going to have to get a bit more glory. Also, to those who might be curious, you have a massive amount of possible lord options, having all of the ones from the monogods. So you have the Herald of Khorne, both Heralds of Nurgle, both Heralds of Tzeentch, and both Heralds of Slaanesh, as they each have different laws of magic, and they will all be able to be upgraded into the Greater Demon versions. All you really have to do to upgrade your Heralds into Exalted Greater Demons is just simply level them up, and as you progress, eventually an event will pop up. Your commandments will also allow you to attain a little bit of glory as you capture more and more provinces, but keep in mind that if you capture a full province and dedicate it to Tzeentch, you won't have only Tzeentchian commandments. So the commandments themselves are very different, as you can see here, and each of them will provide a little bit of glory or a different bonus dedicated to a certain god, but will not spread corruption. That's more focused on your individual buildings. So here's where the cool stuff happens. As you attain glory, it will focus around different subsections of your demonic glory tab. As you can see right here, there are 5 different tabs and they all do something a little bit different. The main thing is that you'll be able to unlock item pieces, and trust me, that's pretty cool, but we'll get to that in just a second. The other thing is, as you can notice, there's little markers throughout that of Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch and Nurgle, and that focuses on unlocking bonuses as if you were a monogod faction, and also the ability to be able to recruit new troops. Think of this as a much more complex version of, say for example, the Beastmen rework. That means if you want to get more troops for any of the gods or all the gods, you're going to have to start getting aggressive, as the best way to get glory is by being as aggressive as possible and getting more glory in the specific god. As you can notice here, I'm on turn 14 and I've only unlocked 1 troop and 1 benefit from each of the Chaos gods. I'm very close to some others though, but this is only because I've been focusing on Undivided. As you can see, I have far more glory up there. So if you want to focus any troops directly, it won't actually take too long. If you're a fan of, say, for example, Bloodthirsters, focus on Khorne. If you prefer Keeper of Secrets, focus on Slaanesh. If you just want to have an Undivided route, go and mix and match as you please. There is no rush to specifically finish off a bar. However, this is where some things start to deviate. You see, there's actually 2 bars connected to each of the different glory routes, and at the end of the first, you have a dedicate button where you can dedicate yourself to a specific way. You can dedicate yourself to become a Demon Prince of Undivided, which in itself is quite a law break. Not since 6th edition have we seen the ability to create Undivided Demon Princes. In fact, the law now states that Be'lakor is the only one. However, we'll talk about that in a future video. Or you can dedicate yourself to one of the Chaos Gods. You can dedicate yourself to Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, or Tzeentch. Now, this is the thing that you want to know. This is mostly focused around items, as you can see there. At the top, if you dedicate yourself to Undivided, you will get the full complete roster of Chaos Undivided, and you'll have items dedicated to an Undivided Demon Prince. However, if you prefer a look of a Khornate demon or a Slaaneshi demon and so on, you can go down into dedicating yourself to them specifically, and it will lock you from other units of the other roster. So for example, if you become a dedicated Khorne demon, you won't be able to get all the greater demons of, say, Slaanesh, Nurgle, or Tzeentch. However, you will unlock powerful items dedicated to your specific demon. But why am I talking so much about items? Items have never really been something so flashy in the Total War series. Well, Creative Assembly have decided to go full ham with the Total War series, especially with said Demon Prince, as he might not have a name, but he's incredibly customizable. So, as you go into your Legendary Lord tab, as you get more glory and so on, you'll unlock items, as I said. And with that, you're able to then start customizing your lord, so you are able to change his appearance, his stats. Not only that, but some of those items will also grant him spells to make him a spellcaster and so on. And this is not only just here, but it affects your campaign. He will be on the campaign map changed, he will look differently when you take him into battle. It's all dependent on the items that you choose and the loadout. You've got hand weapons, shields, you've got offhands, you've got two-handed weapons, you've got pretty much everything. This is something I never expected, as I said, because this is just like, say for example, the tabletop where you would switch around your loadout for a unit or a hero. This is very, very inspired. And what I've noticed is between this and Demonic Glory, this character is incredibly replayable, as you can try out different loadouts, you can try out different dedications. I myself am on my current 2nd playthrough as the Demon Prince, and it's completely different to my first. And there's a final note on this, as you can see, as you switch items around dedicated to a specific god, they will also change color too, meaning that you can have more of a Slaaneshi appeal if you have more Slaanesh items and so on. It's pretty interesting. Now, we've been talking a lot about mechanics, but we're nowhere near done. You see, we haven't even started looking at the campaign stuff just yet. It'll take a while for it to actually start kicking off, so at the very beginning, it allows you to get your bearings with your new campaign, with your new lord, your new armies, and so on. So what I've been doing at this point is recruiting different armies and conquering Norsca. It's not the best armies, but keep in mind that at this point, I only really have access to They're lower tier units, however there is strength in numbers, and being able to mix up with all the different ones available, it does make for a better army than just, say for example, only Nurglings. Obviously, whilst you're waiting for the campaign mechanics to kick in, you can start exploring and fighting different factions. So as you can see here, this is a Skaven settlement, a Skaven minor settlement. As obviously many different factions and races that are going to appear on the map but just might not be playable at the very beginning will of course have their settlements changed up a bit. There will be a video detailing all the changes in the future, but at this point in time you can check out this one and a few others throughout the video. And the main thing to note here is of course the Skaven settlement looks like any interpretation that we've seen from art and any other illustrations. It's a bit of a windy path and it does allow for them to ambush you a little bit. It's pretty different. Here's another example of a minor settlement. This belongs to the Greenskins and can be found in the frozen reaches of Norska. This was a faction I was trying to avoid at the very beginning, however they were becoming quite aggressive to me, so I decided to take the fight to them. This is their last settlement, and as you can see there's loads of winding paths, there's multiple layers, it's a pretty big map. In fact, a lot of the minor settlement maps are quite large now. It will give you a lot of areas to play through and fight in different locations, even just try and bog your enemy down into one location. I have seen some questions over the time in Reddit and the forums regarding normal maps, and yes, there's a lot of them too. In fact, this is an outdoor map where I'm fighting against the forces of Kislev. I was finally taking the fight to them, and my played toads decided to charge into their horses. So just a bit of a word of warning, around turn 25 or so is when your campaign mechanics will start to begin, and there'll obviously be a little spoiler tag down here just to make sure that nobody is getting something that they don't want to see just yet.
The Tome of Fates calls to me, foretelling of a way to elude the Maelstrom and enter the realm of chaos. The dying god will roar again. We must prepare, muster an army that can withstand the terrors you shall face.
So essentially that was a bit of a warning that the campaign is going to start properly soon. It's giving you enough time to prepare yourself, as in most cases you'll need to start building up some armies and so on to traverse the Chaos Realms. As far as I've seen, you get around 5 to 8 turns to prepare yourself more or less, which is more or less enough to actually get yourself a decent stack. Keep in mind it's obviously the troops that you have available to you. This isn't really relevant to the campaign or anything, or at least it's not for now, but there's a little throwback to Zuvisin, one of the Chaos Gods of Unbelief. This is a Chaos God which has been in lore for a long time, however we've not heard of him or pretty much any of the others in a long time too, so it was just really nice. The tabletop player in me just thought this was really interesting, and it was a lovely throwback. With that being said, I prepared my army, and as you can see it's a bit of a mix of Slaanesh and Tzeentch with a little bit of Nurgle, and it's pretty much what I've been using a lot lately. It's pretty different, and it does quite a lot of damage.
The god bear roars in pain. A death rattle felt across the dimensions. Its arcane energy rips across the mortal plane, creating rifts and scarring the world with gateways into the Chaos Realms.
So we'll get to everything that's just happened in just a second, and what we have here is a small event where we can increase our diplomatic relations with any of the 4 monogod factions. I usually go for Skarbrand, mainly because he's hyper aggressive, so you want to keep on his good terms whilst you're busy fighting, say for example, Kislev.
The Tome of Fates knows all. The rifts are our opportunity to reach the Chaos Realms. Now, I truly earn my fee. And yet, a gateway opens both ways. While we may traverse the rifts to enter the realm of chaos, or even be transported to far-flung areas of this world, we must close the gateways not required, or the demon tide that flows forth will lay your lands in ruin.
I have ascended. A ruinous crusade.
To trespass upon the Chaos Realms is to step into a nightmare. 4 domains ruled by their cruel masters. Nurgle, the master of plagues. Slaanesh, the lord of excess. Tzeentch, the changer of ways, and Khorne, the blood god. We must visit each realm and steal a soul from a demon prince. For it is these souls, one from each of the great powers, merged together, that shall light the hidden path to the Forge.
So the campaign officially begins with demonic portals opening all around the map. This is an event which will happen every few turns or so, around 30 more or less. With these rifts you can do the following: enter the domain of a specific Chaos God. This is where you'll be able to take the fight to them directly, and you'll be able to visit places where we've not seen before in most different illustrations, games and so on from the Warhammer worlds or universes as a whole. You can also close the rifts if you so wish, or traverse the rifts where you're able to go to the other rifts opening up throughout the whole Warhammer map. You will need to enter each of the realms to progress for your campaign. Now keep in mind that you will want to also close these rifts if you can, as time progresses they will spawn agents and even armies, so if you don't deal with them as quickly as possible, especially if your empire grows larger and larger, you might have some enemies spawning from the inside to some settlements that might not be very well defended. As a bit of a tip here, armies can close rifts which will spawn a small enemy army that you can deal with and get some extra XP, or you can use agents to close rifts. That will cost a little bit of money, but it won't spawn an enemy army and all that type of stuff, so you'll be in a better position. Also keep in mind that this is indeed a narrative campaign like that of Warhammer 2, so as you're progressing through the campaign, your enemies will also be progressing too. It's up to you if you wish to deal with your enemies directly, especially when you start fighting within the Chaos Realms. Speaking of which, let's not waste any more time now. As I am kind of time gated with this first embargo, I'll show you a realm that we've already seen the survival battle of, but we haven't seen the realm directly. This is the realm of Khorne, but we'll also be able to get some views of all the others too.
The realm of chaos, a place unbound. The constraints of the mortal dimensions have no effect here. Only the whims of the dark gods matter. Yet there are places where no ruinous power claims influence. In the Forge of Souls, Be'lakor lurks, and Ursun dies. Until we have the 4 Demon Prince souls, it will remain out of reach. The Blood God's domain. Upon its blood-strewn ground, armies of demons clash in gladiatorial contests of unending slaughter. Battle through this cauldron of war and reach the Brass Citadel. There you will find the Gatekeeper, the favored Demon Prince of Khorne. Kill him to claim his soul.
You looked at me with eyes of hatred and greed, and now the fury is mine.
So here we are in the realm of Khorne. Don't worry, there'll also be a video detailing all 4 realms, but like I said, there's time constraints on these embargoes, so I'm trying to make the best of my time as it is. So what you can see here is that the realm of Khorne is vastly different to anything else that we've seen, mainly because there are no settlements. Keep in mind this is the same thing when it comes to all 4 realms, and keep in mind also that every different realm has different objectives whilst in the inside. When it comes to Khorne, you'll notice that you have a bar on top of your army, and you have to fill that by, you know, doing what Khorne likes best, fighting. The more you fight throughout there, the more the bar fills out, and eventually you'll be able to fight the Demon Prince, which is there in the main survival battle. Remember the old survival battle that we showcased? Well, it wasn't with an exalted demon, but instead it's with Demon Princes. You'll start to see Demon Princes around throughout the whole game. Rogue armies will be led by some Demon Princes and so on, but you will only have the one Lord. There are no others for the time being. Who knows what the future holds though? So obviously the other factions can enter this realm whilst you're here too, so you're gonna have to be quick in some cases, as you You obviously don't want your enemies to get to the actual marker and do the quest to attain the demon soul before you can, as that will throw you out of the realm, where you can then either choose to go into another rift, or if it's too late, you're going to have to wait and travel into the next rift that opens around 30 turns later. By the way, it is important to note that you don't have to go into the very first one if you don't want to. You can wait and all that, but I like to get it out of the way quick. It'll get you some good levels, sometimes items, and it does help in higher difficulties. When it comes to the Realm of Khorne specifically, you'll notice there's a few rogue armies and so on. They will respawn over time, so it's fine. You don't have to just wait there for someone else to spawn in, though Khorgath does appear in this campaign as he was just trying to get there himself. I have had a playthrough where I entered one of the realms and there were about 4 of the different lords there, so we were all kind of fighting it out. I must admit I ended up making a mistake and ended up getting myself destroyed, so that's why you're not seeing that footage here. So obviously here I was able to beat Khorgath, and yeah, my army's taken a bit of a beating. I did lose some troops, but now I can fight the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince itself will have its own look, and you can replicate that if you want with the certain items that you get from getting Khorne Glory, which again is pretty cool. It shows that that mechanic is so inspired that you're able to mess around and just come up with all possible types of Demon Princes. The battle itself is that of the survival battle. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, I won't be able to show that off, as it's 45 minutes more or less, or 30 minutes, and I have a few videos coming out today. Like for example, a Miao Yin video will be coming out shortly after this one, so obviously I want to showcase as much as I can with the given time constraints.
The first soul harvested. When all 4 have been gathered, they will combine into a single light, revealing a shadow path to the Forge of Souls. Then Ursun will be within our reach. But what's this? The tome consumes the soul's energy, reaching across time, revealing secrets.
It was the Old Ones that shaped this world into a paradise. Yet the power they harnessed to move sun and rock could not be tamed. Raw magic erupted from the great cataclysm, flowing forth from a realm of chaos. So came the demons. They hunted the mortals, feeding on their souls. Yet one of their prey betrayed his kin and embraced the gods of chaos. They gifted him demonhood, and he became the first demon prince, Be'lakor. He clawed at the world, scarred it with his armies, reveling in the bloodshed. Those who seek power will always want more, and Be'lakor's lust was the greatest of all.
Gods of chaos, have I not fed you souls? Have I not given you the world? Give me more power. Answer me!
The 4 gods punished the demon prince for his arrogance. They took everything. His armies, his power, his form. Cursed to roam the world as a shadow amongst the shadows, powerless for eternity.
Damn the gods.
Be'lakor has spent millennia planning his revenge on the Chaos Gods. What a twisted scheme has his dark mind constructed. We look upon the mortal lands once more, having ventured into the realm of chaos. The Tome of Fates thrums with the power of the twisted soul trapped in its pages. To reach the Forge of Souls, we require 3 more. We are not the only ones who seek the dying god. They employ their own methods to cross the veil into the realm of chaos. We must act with haste.
There's a lot more to showcase, and believe me, many videos will feature on this channel, but until then, this is around turn 40 where I'm attacking a Kizovite miner settlement, and you can see it's gorgeous. It looks really nice. From a Warhammer Fantasy tabletop point of view, we've never really seen too many illustrations of what Kizovite towns and so on look like, so now we're finally starting to see them, and you know, it's got multiple layers too. This is an area which I struggled to attack a little bit, mainly because I had too much range and there's lots of twists and turns, but the pink horrors itself, which can fire at an arc formation, were able to do a decent amount of damage to the Kizovites as they met me in combat. And before I end this video, it's turn 40, so I want to showcase how much in terms of different items that I've been able to get and just show some customization off. Keep in mind that this is also done in a way that I focused on Undivided, so a lot of other things I would probably have more of the monogod stuff if I focused on them more and so on. But you can see that you're able to get quite a lot of different looks. This is also instant, by the way, so as soon as you've changed it, it's automatic. You don't have to wait a turn, and you'll get all the benefits from all the items and so on. And you can see the color changes too. It's a very different character. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below regarding how you feel about this character and so on, as it's very new. It's very new. This is something that we've not seen since 6th edition, like I said, so obviously, a lot of old guard like myself have been surprised. Obviously, I have to keep as impartial as possible for these videos until I can give a proper review, but so far, it's looking quite interesting. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very soon. Have a good day.